What's up guys, welcome back to another Unbox Hero video where we test and review products so that you can figure out whether or not it's worth your money. In this video, we'll be testing and reviewing a Logitech keyboard called the Logitech G915. So this is the keyboard box right here. The keyboard is sitting behind me because we've been testing it for a couple weeks now. But what's great about this keyboard is that it's wireless and it's a gaming keyboard that has all the RGB features. So you may think that a wireless keyboard has a lot of connectivity issues or the battery issues, and this keyboard on the box is stated at 30 hours for this whole keyboard. So I've tested it and I would say that it does last 30 hours. I haven't used a keyboard for a continuous 30 hours straight, but I've been using it for about a week and a half now, turning it on occasionally and turning it off occasionally. So sometimes I forget to turn it off because you do have to flick a switch on the top of the keyboard. But the keyboard currently is at like 40% battery life, and I would say that it does last quite a long time for a wireless gaming RGB keyboard. Now, before I jump into showing you guys the whole keyboard, let me go over some of the features on the box just so that you guys know what kind of features are on this keyboard. So it is a GL clicky keyboard, and I'll give you guys a little sample of what that sounds like. So this keyboard comes with the keyboard itself inside the box. It also comes with this little dongle right here, and on the dongle, if it focuses, it does say the keyboard model number right there. So it does say the G915. If you have the Logitech G502 wireless mouse, you would think that that receiver would also work with this keyboard, but unfortunately it doesn't. So you will need to plug in this dongle on top of other dongles you have for other peripherals. So if you don't have the USB space, you might want to think about what kind of space you have, or maybe even picking up a USB dongle so that you can have an adapter that can plug in multiple USB devices. So there has been no connectivity issues. I've used this for gaming, I've used it for editing, I've used it for a lot of other things like browsing the web, and I haven't had any issues with it dropping off. I think the connection is pretty solid. I think if you pull this keyboard quite far away from the receiver, you might start seeing some issues. I also do lower down the brightness so that the battery level lasts a little bit longer. But let's just jump straight into the keyboard to show you guys what it looks like, what the material is made out of, and what it sounds like. So this keyboard is a pretty expensive keyboard. It was about $250 from Best Buy. And if you guys want to pick up this keyboard, it'll be linked in the description down below on Amazon if you guys want to check it out. But this keyboard is made out of this nice 5052 magnesium aluminum, so it's very high quality. On the back of the keyboard, it's got those legs like every other keyboard has. It doesn't get super raised, but you do have two options. So there's that first option for a smaller raised, and then if you want to go a little bit higher, there's an additional raise right there. So it's going to be on both sides, and it's a pretty slim profile. If you compare it to other keyboards, there's not much space on this keyboard. I used to use the Corsair K95, and that keyboard was pretty bulky, and when I played games on it, I did notice that I was able to hit most of the buttons because they were so large. So once you switch over from a keyboard like that to one of these keyboards, since it's so slim, you do have to adjust your gaming style just because the keys are a little bit smaller than the Corsair K95 or other gaming keyboards. But as you guys can see, there is the RGB on this keyboard, and it looks pretty nice. There's some buttons on the very top. There's this button right here which changes the type of lights you have on your keyboard, and you can preset a lot of these things on the keyboard itself through the software, through Logitech's G Hub, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But if you guys don't want the lights on, you just press that button up top just a couple times to turn it all off, and then it changes the hue of the light, the tint of it, so it doesn't get so bright. You guys can enhance the battery by lowering the lights on your keyboard. So looking at the keyboard, on the left side here, there are some macro keys that you can change. On the top, there's some macro keys as well if you guys want to open up programs. But it's a pretty generic keyboard. What I love about this keyboard and some other keyboards is that it does have this scroll wheel right here. If you scroll this wheel on your Windows computer, what it does is it adjusts the volume. So there's some keyboards out there where it's a physical button, but I really like the scroll wheel because it makes it so I feel like a DJ. I just scroll and it changes the volume whether I want to go up or down. And then there's some multimedia buttons right there as well if you use multimedia buttons. I primarily use this button right here for the muting of the speakers. So you just press that and it mutes the speakers or the headphones you have on. But that is pretty much it just for the overall keyboard. It's pretty generic. It's pretty expensive for what it is, and I think I did pay a premium just so that I can get that RGB, light speed, gaming, and wireless keyboard from Logitech. So to show you guys the sound test here, I'm going to leave it on the desk. The camera is about 6 inches away from the keyboard, so I'm going to type a couple things for you. So let's open up a WordPad, and this is what it sounds like. If you're gaming, this is what it kind of sounds like using the WASD keys. So that is what it sounds like while you're gaming. The travel on these keys are a little bit different than red switches. It's probably a little bit less noticeable when you're pressing the keys. It's more subtle. So if you're a gamer and you like that tactile feel, you might want to go with a different keyboard. But if you like how Logitech creates their keyboards, then this might be one of the ones you pick up. Now if you want to charge up this keyboard, it's going to be on the very top right there. There is a micro USB port. Unfortunately, for some reason, they didn't want to put a USB-C port on this, but they include the micro USB charging cable in the box for you to charge it. So this is what the micro USB charging cable looks like. It's just a generic one. You just plug it into a USB outlet, and it'll start charging. Now, if you want to use this while it's charging, you definitely can. If you run out of juice during a game or you're low on battery but you want to charge it up as well, you can plug it into your computer or plug it into any USB wall outlet, and it'll charge up the keyboard while staying connected to your computer. So if you do just want to charge it up while you're gaming, you can do that as well. So on the left side here, on the very top, that is where the on and off button is. So if you switch it to the right, it'll turn off the keyboard altogether. So you can turn it off when you're going to bed, or if you're done using the keyboard. And if you're ready to start using the keyboard, you would switch it to the left, and then the keyboard will turn on, and there's pretty much no delay for that keyboard. The second you switch it on, and as long as that USB dongle is plugged into your computer, it'll start receiving that connection, and you pretty much can use it instantaneously. So here is the Logitech G Hub for all the peripherals you have connected. Now, it's kind of tedious if you have different brands of peripherals. So, like for my example, since I had a Corsair keyboard and a Logitech mouse, it was kind of tedious having to open up 2 different softwares to customize and to figure out what I want on each peripheral. So by having one brand and one hub for all of my peripherals, it makes it very easy for me to customize and to look at the battery life for all my items. So here it is, it's already opened up. I have 2 of my devices connected. I have the Logitech G502 Lightspeed mouse, and I have the keyboard, the G915, and it does state the battery life on each of the peripherals as they are wireless. So it's very nice that you can see what the battery life is on the software, so you don't have to guess whether or not you need to plug it in or not. But if you guys want to see how much time is left on that battery life, if you click on the keyboard itself and you click the top right cog where it says G915 settings, it'll tell you guys an approximation of how much time is left on that keyboard. So on this keyboard at 61% charge, it's saying that there's about 21 hours left on the keyboard. So that is still pretty good. So I probably won't need to charge this up for a few more days. So it's going to probably last me about 2 weeks without having to charge up this keyboard. So just going back into the settings, on the settings you can change a lot of effects here. You can change what your colors are on the keyboard, if you want it cycled, if you want it set on a fixed color. There are so many settings on here that there's probably so much that you probably don't know which one you want to choose. I usually like to go with the ripple effect, where if you click a button, it'll ripple in effect of whatever color you select. If you go to freestyle, you can just select a lot of different colors, animations. You can customize pretty much anything on this keyboard, which is freaking awesome. If you go to the left side and go to the assignments tab, this is pretty much where you have your macros, so you can customize what these buttons do. So if you wanted one of these buttons to do a keystroke, like if you wanted to press A1, then instead of pressing A1 on your keyboard, you can just press that one button, which will save you a lot of time. So it's pretty simple for you guys to set this up. All you do is you click on the button you want customizing, then you would click on actions and you would search for an action, or if you want to go to macros, you can create a new macro. So it's very simple. If you go to game mode, you can also select which keys are disabled by default. You can also just select this button right here and you can have it automatically adjust to whatever game you're playing. So if you play a lot of games, you guys can select different macros for whatever game. So if you open up that game or if you open up that application, it'll automatically change your keyboard to those keybinds, so you don't have to come back in the system and change it manually. I have it set to a manual one and I have it locked in because I don't like changing my keybinds for whatever software I'm using. But if you guys play a lot of games and you guys use a lot of different buttons, then this might be a good selling point for you. That is pretty much what I have for you guys in this video. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please smash that like button for me. If you guys want more content like this, hit the subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss any content I upload in the future. And like always, if you guys have any questions at all regarding this or anything I mentioned in the video, leave it in the comment section down below and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace.